Good afternoon from Mexico City. NASCAR on Prime, ready to bring you Cup Series qualifying. Second road course race of the year happens here tomorrow. Coverage starts on Prime, 2 o'clock Eastern time. First time ever the Cup cars have raced at this 2.4-mile, 15-turn facility. We're looking forward to that. And we welcome you into the broadcast booth. The Hall of Famer is here, Dale Earnhardt Jr., our crew chief, Steve Letarte. I'm Adam Alexander. We did practice yesterday, roughly 90 minutes. We found out collectively this is a very challenging layout. With that, what do drivers face today in qualifying?
Yeah, that's the thing. They went home, they thought about this, but they haven't had any laps this morning, so they go out on the track, and there are some challenging points to this racetrack where they can make mistakes. Some drivers have been on the track this morning in Xfinity practice. Christopher Bell, Suarez, Gibbs, guys like that, they're going to have an advantage in this qualifying session.
Well, and as the crew chief, I'm trying to figure out how to coach my driver along. I can't help much on the racetrack. That had to be done last night, looking at information, how other guys were good. But one big group, everybody qualifies together here at Mexico City in one big session. You can run 1 lap, 5 lap, 10 lap, run as long as you want. The fastest lap is what matters. So will the track be better at the beginning of the session? Do we run 1 lap and then sit, let everything cool, and run a 2nd lap? I think there's going to be a lot of strategies up and down pit road.
I vote for drama at the end, so maybe a few good cars wait till late in the session to go out and make their hot lap. Let's take a look at this racetrack, because when you look at the layout, as we said, it's challenging and unique.
Yeah, long front straightaway, huge braking zone down here in turn 1. We'll see crazy things happening during the restarts tomorrow. And then you go through turns 1, 2, and 3. You need your car to change directions there really well to be able to get out this corner, down this straightaway, into the braking zone to turn 4.
That's really where I think the racing's going to happen, into turn 4. But for qualifying, I think you have to be good in turn 4, but it's connecting turn 4 to the stadium. All of these S's, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, as you climb those S's there, they're tighter. We were just on the track yesterday. They are tighter than I expected, a couple of those changes of direction. So I think there's opportunity to gain time there, and then go down in 11, heavy braking, and we've already seen mistakes there today.
Absolutely. And then a tight little section here in the stadium, 12, 13, 14, and coming out of 15 there. You need to get through here really good to be able to make passes into turn 1, be able to advance down this long 4,000-foot straightaway to get into turn 1 and make more passes there.
And if you're going to make a good qualifying run, you want to do it 1 lap, right? Just go out, get it done, and put a good one on the board. Let everybody else chase your cars on track. It's qualifying with NASCAR on Prime, live in Mexico City. This year, when it comes to road course qualifying, let's check in now with Marty Snyder.
And let's chat with the national hero, Daniel Suarez. Happy homecoming to you. I love the contingent you have following you everywhere, Daniel. I want to talk about Xfinity Series qualifying. Man, you had such a fast car. But what will happen to put you on the wall, Daniel?
Yeah, Mario, I mean, I don't want to blame it on anything because I'm not 100% sure on I don't have the facts, but lap 1 with red tire, I feel like something was weird with the brakes. Like something was not 100%. Well, I don't have the experience with these Xfinity cars to say, hey, this is something wrong. I kind of knew something was wrong, but I wasn't 100% sure. So probably I should have been more vocal to the guys. We had a conversation about it. We're debating if we're gonna fix it after qualifying, maybe before qualifying, maybe start in the back or not. And just the pedal for some reason was just traveling too much. But yeah, it's a shame. I feel very bad for Quaker State and for everyone in Junior Motorsports. But they're a top-notch team, and they're gonna build another fast car.
I asked him how the Cup car was. He said much better. He will be very quick here in this practice session. But it's fun, Adam, to watch Daniel Suarez walk around here in Mexico City. So many fans shouting his name everywhere he goes.
He's done such an unbelievable job being an ambassador for this event. I think it's at least a half a dozen trips that he's made down to Mexico City to promote what we've got going on this weekend. And if he could go out and win today, tomorrow, it would just change everything for him. It'd be such a big shot in the arm for everyone in NASCAR.
Absolutely. We're watching the cars go down the racetrack into turn 11, and right back there before turn 11, there's an alternate start-finish line. That's where your lap will start, right here where these cars are crossing over this more freshly paved part of the racetrack. So your lap starts there. There's the mark on the outside fence, alternate start-finish line. So lap begins here. You'll run all the way around the racetrack, all the way down the front straightaway, and back around to this point to complete that lap. They're doing this so the cars can finish the lap and then get to pit road quickly. You don't have to run an additional lap to come around and get to pit road. You get to pit road right as your lap is finished.
You know, the other thought on that, though, is the speed because you're getting after it, right? You want to finish that lap. Now the speed that you're carrying into 11 and the mindset of making that corner.
Yeah, there's a conversation maybe around, are you traditionally lifting at or before that start-finish line to make turn 11? In your attempt to make a good qualifying lap, will you carry the throttle further beyond that braking point, traditional braking point for turn 11? We've seen some people spin out in turn 11 or even have some trouble there missing that corner on the end of their qualifying lap in Xfinity. So we'll see how they a couple ways do it.
Watching Cindric go to work right here in the bottom left, you see his feet. Right foot gas, left foot brake. No concern for the clutch, unnecessary with this sequential gearbox. Here in turn 8, so these are kind of the switchbacks. Turn 9 will definitely get your attention. And then down right here is the start-finish line, so he's going to complete his lap at a 1:33.6, first lap completed. Briscoe right behind, 1:33.2. So the 19 of Briscoe sets the fast pace so far. Interesting, strategy. We have 10 or 12 cars on the racetrack, a bunch on pit road. We have the 48 go out, roll around relatively slow, and come back in. I don't know if that's maybe a strategy to put some heat in the tires. You see Briscoe continuing, right? So you saw Cindric come to pit road, Briscoe continuing. So they feel that either A, the tires in the car get better on the second lap, or B, maybe just the driver. Maybe he just said, hey, give me 2 shots at this, back to back. I think I can find some more. So let's see if he improves, right? 1:33.2 is his fast lap. Currently heading down into turn 1, which takes forever. That straightaway is so long, 4,000 feet long.
And you see as they get under braking, that head-on shot allows us to understand the car is very uncomfortable in the braking zones here. In turn 1, into turn 4, into turn 11. We've seen a lot of tire smoke, and more than we've ever seen it before in practice yesterday, and a lot of cars very loose under braking, particularly right here again in turn 4. Back of the car kind of wiggles around, slides around, trying to break traction.
See, our tracker is in. Shane Van Gisbergen in the green. His opening lap put him 7th on the board of 8 that have completed a lap. Briscoe tracking against himself, and as you can tell, a couple of tenths of a second behind what he ran on that first lap that has him P1 right now.
So you think the tire may fall off just a little bit. I can promise you the driver feels like they could do a better job on that too, having understood the limitations of the car and just being back out on the track and getting back accustomed to the corners.
Shane Van Gisbergen goes to the top.
Oh, the 77 also going to go wide here and allow Shane to continue the lap.
1:32.77 for the 88.
I think 77 maybe wasn't sure if Shane was starting his lap or finishing the lap, so he allowed him to go through there, Trevor.
Yeah, and you're going to see the Ford car run a lot of laps today in this qualifying session. Remember, yesterday he had that incident getting into turn 8 where he hit the wall and bit the front clip, had to go to a backup car. So either way, they're going to have to go to the rear in this race. When I talked to Noah, he said this hit really didn't feel like much. And we all saw it and thought, had to fix it up and go back out. But it was enough to bend that front clip, like I said, going to the backup. Noah's in the car working on it with his guys, trying to get it fixed up. But today, they're going to use this, as I said, like a practice, get as many laps they can, try to dial this number 4 in for him.
I appreciate the fact he was in the garage yesterday evening helping out, back in there this morning.
Yeah, he's a racer. He understands he wants to show his team that he's sorry for the mistake and he's going to be there for them while they're trying to get this car ready. And Shane
continues to improve. His second lap was better than his first, and it looks like his third lap might continue to improve.
It's always a little bit odd when you got a guy in tracking against himself, right? We saw it with Briscoe, now we see it with Shane Van Gisbergen.
It's going to be right on top of the same lap that he ran before, but we're seeing Briscoe, Hocevar both running better on their second lap. The top 3.
For SVG, it looked like the rear grip kind of went away. Back was a little happy there through the S's.
Byron, Cindric, and Chastain have not run a second lap. They're on the racetrack, though.
Ty Gibbs is out there. He's one of those drivers that you mentioned in our open, Dale, that is running double duty. And so the extra track time maybe helps him find his rhythm. He was really good in practice yesterday, both on the average and 1 lap speed. Bubba Wallace on track, qualified front row in our last road course race at Circuit of the Americas. And here's 3-time champion and 1-time road course winner Joey Logano.
See Ty Gibbs jumped to 2nd place. Mentioned that he had opportunity to be on the racetrack today in Xfinity practice. He was fast yesterday in his Cup car, so just continuing to build on that confidence this weekend.
Penske cars were really good in that second practice yesterday. There was a good portion of it where they had the top 3 positions.
Yeah, one of the things that I think Steve will have an opportunity to talk about too is the Penske cars and the Fords seem to be able to have a better package in cooling, running those louvers on the hood. We're going to see the Chevys and some of the Toyotas maybe having a bit of a different package for cooling on the hood of the race car. And these Fords seem to be performing better in that respect. And that's a better package for the car to have better performance, downforce, drag, and all those things.
Yeah, it's most obvious on the Chevrolet. So when you look at this Ford, it looks normal kind of the naked eye, but the openings there on the hood where the arrows, we have Catherine Legoff, that shows the opening on the hood really well. You see kind of no louvers in that big opening. Let's take a look at what happened exactly. I think this is turn 4. Yeah. A lot of rear lockups. I think that's what's going to happen here. Just some rear grip issues.
4 and 11 are the 2 real hot spots where we've seen drivers miss it or get it turned around.
Yeah, so the louvers on the hood of the Chevrolet there, that 78, are just big giant holes.
That's right.
Taking those bands out, the louvers themselves are out to allow the cooling. It's basically the most aggressive package you can have for the cooling.
Yeah, so due to the elevation, the engines don't cool very well. So the manufacturer has to decide completely across the way what you're going to run. So the Chevys have opted for max cooling. That's what you see. The Fords, as Dale pointed out, they don't look quite like this, but that's their max cooling. And then, the Toyotas. And then the Fords went with their standard stuff. So that should help the Fords here single car. Now we'll see tomorrow during the race if it's enough cooling. Yeah. Like if you get in traffic, does the engine overheat?
Lap 2 for Todd Gilliland takes him from 7th to 4th. He jumps in front of Logano, who's 5th. Ross Chastain was able to take his Chevy up to 2nd on the board. So it's 1-2 right now for Trackhouse as we ride on board with Ryan Truex driving the 11 for Joe Gibbs Racing this weekend. Denny Hamlin not competing. Fiance Jordan had their baby boy a couple of days ago, so he's staying home to take care of business there. He's requested and received the waiver for the playoffs. Enter Ryan Truex, who's been waiting on the sidelines the last few weeks, but gets an opportunity to practice, qualify, and race that 11 this weekend.
Yeah, Ryan's struggled to find the speed this weekend for some reason. He's been in this car testing for Toyota for the Willforce. He's been on the sim. He tested physically at Michigan just a month ago. So he's got a lot of laps in the next-gen car. I think he's probably just trying to take things easy, but he'd love to find more speed than this, what he's shown in practice and so far in qualifying. You see the car not comfortable on downshifting there. He gets up into the brakes, already having lockups. Not using a lot of engine decel on the downshift either.
Yeah, I mean almost a second loss just on the braking into 1. So you can see his comfort level just not matching some of the faster cars. SVG is who we were comparing to, though, and he's probably, I would say, near the top, if not the top, at deceleration and braking in these cars.
Talk about Gibbs, best so far, Ty Gibbs in 3rd. Talk about Joe Gibbs Racing as an organization. 54 is up there in 3rd, 19 and Chase Briscoe is 6th. Here's Christopher Bell, most recent winner on a road course. Got it done with a great run into the race Circuit of the Americas a couple of months ago.
We talk a lot about the value of qualifying, and it's real everywhere. Just add the layers in. This pit road, new, you pit backwards, so it's a little bit hard. I mean backwards, so drivers away from pit wall. It's a little bit harder to get in and out of your pit box. They're relatively short, only about 26 or 27 feet long, and there's not a lot of openings.
Bring it in.
You would expect, as you hear the radio, to bring it in. You would expect them to pit mostly under green here at the road course. If you do have to come under yellow, it could be crowded. Those small boxes could matter.
I'm a little surprised by that lap by Christopher Bell. That was his second lap on the racetrack and only a 1:33.9, sitting in 13th right now overall. Marty.
Junior, I can answer Steve's question about Alex Poland. Checked in with Blake Harris. That was indeed an install lap, Steve. 2 breaks for the 48. They just wanted to make sure everything was good. He'll do a real run here in a moment. And I would say overall, Steve, a little bit more of a sense of urgency down here because weather is in the area. That's why they've combined it into one 45-minute session. Normally, you would want to wait until later in the session, Steve. Is that correct? Let the track come in a little bit, but because the weather is so close, that's why over half half the field is already gone early in this session.
Yeah, Mark, you would assume laps on the racetrack are going to just increase its grip, put some more rubber down. If weather does come in, NASCAR has a couple options, right? If they figure there was an ample enough time for everybody to get a lap, they can end qualifying. They could also call it wet conditions and allow you to run wet rain tires. There's no way you're going to match the pace of full dries. So I think everybody knows that if rain hits the circuit, and we've had this much time elapsed, I think NASCAR would say everybody had enough time to go out, and they would just set the field.
So far, 22 cars have been on track. You were right there with Tyler Reddick. Now we flash to A.J. Allmendinger. He's in the green. Got a good lap going. Was not happy with his car yesterday in practice. So put one together here.
Yeah, he's early in the lap. This is turn 4. Still got to get through the S's. A little bit of a hot diamond there in the middle of turn 4, trying to gain that back. But still a great lap. If it can maintain right here just a tenth off, a couple more corners.
Opening lap for A.J. put it 14th. 10th and a half behind current pole sitter Van Gisbergen at the top.
That'll put him top 5 right there.
Look at that collection of drivers top 5. 2 from Trackhouse, Joe Gibbs Racing front row, and Colleague leading the way in Mexico. On board, Daniel Suarez.
He's got to cross the finish line right there, off into turn 11, and that lap puts him in 9th overall.
Dow's on a little bit of a flyer right here. He keeps bouncing back and forth. Right there, it's in the barely.
He's awful.
He is just tossing this thing from left to right.
Yeah, I love to see those guys that, he had a little bit of a mistake there. Yeah, cost him quite a bit of time trying to get to the finish line.
How about that? Like, that whole, he ran 2.2 miles within basically a tenth of what he was trying to run. And the last quarter mile, he has one correction. And that's it.
He's
All
still
the work
fourth on the board. I know he's disappointed. Probably had a chance at getting in the top 2 there.
Larson also made a run. He's 5th. Trevor?
Yeah, talking with Michael McDowell earlier, he felt like he would be able to get a couple runs in, so that might not be the end of it for the 71. But Michael's so great on these road courses and just has a ton of ability to adapt and figure them out. He said, man, I kind of wish we had no practice yesterday when I asked him about not having all their tools with SMT and the different things that they utilize to try to figure out the games. But I will tell you, here on pit road, you're hearing a lot more feedback from crew chiefs now that those tools are working. They can tell their drivers where they're getting beat at.
Right on board with Chase Elliott. See the telemetry down in the bottom left corner. This weekend there'll be a ton of shifting. And this is a new track, so we can all learn what gear they're using at particular points of the racetrack. Car bottoming out a little bit over those curves. They got that car down on the ground, Steve.
Trying to get all the downforce they can. The lower the back of that car is, the better it works. That lap right there for Chase puts him in the 11th position. A couple Penske Fords were trending green. Cindric with it looks like it'll be a big improvement. Currently 17th. Blaney right there. A couple tenths off.
You know, that green can be a real tease until you find out exactly where they are on the racetrack, you know? And so many potential places to screw it up. I hate to say it that way, but trouble all over the place when you qualify here.
Well, with the finish line, basically after the S's, you have to get those S's perfect. That's really challenging to get the car to change directions and not lose time and make mistakes.
16th for Blaney. Here's another Ford, Chris Buescher. 2nd last week in Michigan, one on the road last fall at Watkins Glen. Mr. Consistency, and his teammates right behind him. I like this dude. You got a good road racer as a teammate, just follow him around on your qualifying lap, huh?
Absolutely what you want to do. If you feel like that you're just a little bit off your teammate, or anyone really for that matter, you can follow them out on the racetrack and qualifying. All the drivers, I would say 95% of the drivers in the field run better lap times with a rabbit to chase. Somebody to gauge distance, braking points. You know, it's just, you run a little bit better laps. Ross Chastain was talking about that in the media in the past 24 hours about how he likes to go out there and follow somebody, and this is working for Caprice.
Yeah, I was going to say, unfortunately, he's catching him in such a rate, he might get right to his rear bumper. It's not going to be the case, but it's going to be a huge lap for Preece. Second, wow, what a lap. Ryan Preece, Buescher surprisingly over a second off.
And I go back to Circuit of the Americas. Priest didn't have the car he wanted. They ran it long to get points. He won a stage. But as a guy that comes in tied at the cut line with Kyle, oh boy, look out. Okay, bring it to me, right? Just bring it back. Up.
It's just back in that area.
Yeah.
He knows that's not a good place to be sitting. Find a good way to rejoin.
Well, luckily that happened after the lap was completed. But he did a good job, and that was smart of them to go out there and follow Buescher, Buescher's got the best average finish in the next gen car since we've been racing on the road courses. Really solid road course racer.
Just rear grip loose over that curve, and then spun it out. Trevor.
Yeah, I talked with Ryan Priest before this qualifying session, and I brought up how good that 17 was, his teammate on the long run yesterday, and he said, man, our cars are overlaid right over each other. We're going to try to find a rabbit, which he did, the 17 car, and try to go lay down a lap. He felt very, very confident in his car, thought he had all the speed he needs. He said, we're going to be good today, and it's showing right now.
Briscoe back on track. First guy out earlier today, now 18th, won the last 3 poles. Talked about that earlier. Gregson on track, Buescher running again. Everybody chasing Shane Van Gisbergen at the top, 132.77.
Buescher was teasing me when I was saying he was right there around 0, and he had a moment which cost him about 4/10, but he does jump up to 16, so a big improvement for the driver of the 17. See how Briscoe can navigate these S's.
He's got a good lap going here.
We've seen a lot of people be able to match SVG up to this point. On the racetrack, SVG just really did such a great job getting out of turn 4 and through the S's.
It's almost like a water faucet. It's flowing, and you get to turn 4, and it just shuts off for a lot of guys.
Yeah, see, there's 2/10. Just something he didn't do. I mean, looked fine.
For the sector times, SVG is just dominant through the S's. His car changes direction, which reminds me of like the Chicago Street Course V8 Supercar. I think that's where those road course guys that those real twitchy back and forth, they do a really nice job of that.
Marty?
Adam starting to feel raindrops here on pit road. Also getting reports from spotters that there are raindrops in turn 1 as well. And the interesting part of that, Steve, is that there's a lot of teams sitting here on pit road that would like to make a second run, but the crew chiefs are saying right now, let's hold off from doing that because of these raindrops.
Well, you want to improve your time, Marty, but this place is so big, 2.4 miles. The last thing you want to do is get your driver down there in turn 1, catch a rainstorm, wreck the car, and have to go to a backup.
Story of NASCAR's Garage 56 journey to the 24-hour Le Mans. A team fueled by innovation and driven to make history. American Thunder, NASCAR 2 Le Mans. Watch now, only on Prime. Riding with A.J. Allmendinger. You talk about drivers that can hustle it through the tough parts of the track. He can do it. Here he is off the 15 and going to make a run down that long front straightaway.
Yeah, he struggled a little bit with his balance and happiness of the race car in practice. We'll see if they've made some changes to get him more comfortable and giving him the car that they know he needs to win this race.
A few drops on that bumper camera you see, so that rain is starting to pick up a little bit. I don't think it's enough to affect the track yet. AJ just doesn't look comfortable, right? Like, he's normally so aggressive in the braking zones. He doesn't seem he can be aggressive.
You got to believe tomorrow he'll find a way to nickel and dime it and make something out of it. But this is the land of opportunity for him, and to not be further up, no doubt, is frustrating. Turn 4, and let's watch him. Tell us about the S's here, Dale.
Yeah, basically everybody that's been able to get close to SVG's matched him in the most of the racetrack, except for this portion right here. This is a series of corners that are one after the other, a chain of corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is where the experts that run the road courses are going to prevail. Most every driver in the field can go out there and beat SVG or match him through a single corner, a 90 degree, whatever it may be, doesn't matter. But when you have to go through 4 or 5 corners that are one after the other, and it's changing the direction of the car, getting the car turned and pivoted and going back the other way, that is where the road course experts are going to beat you. And that's where SVG has beaten everybody today.
Here's AJ's radio, Team 16.
You break about a car and a half later than he does, and he's able to get to the gas sooner and straighten out that little S's there right after the transition.
So they're telling him that he's actually driving deeper into the corner, but obviously that's not equating to lap time. So perhaps they're trying to, coach him to back the corner up. But as a driver, you're trying to go fast. You're trying to drive deeper into the corner. So you can just tell it's just not the car that AJ's looking for. Still 8th on the board, but you would just expect them to be even higher.
Marty mentioned the rain. We've got it now. We paused our clock, and the track is in a red condition. Everybody has made a qualifying run, so that's the good news. Everybody had a chance to get out on track, and now we build more on the story of AJ Allmendinger down to Trevor.
Yeah, Adam, you guys are doing a great job covering it, because I talked to AJ and he said, man, we're so far off. I don't know if it's me, if it's the car. I don't know if I'm overdriving it, underdriving it. We've talked a lot about the tools that these guys use. I know I have personally, but it's so important. Imagine being an NFL team and going into a game with no film of the other team. That's basically how these drivers came into qualifying. They didn't know where they were getting beat. Once AJ made that first run, they could see he's losing or gaining 5/10 actually into turn 1 in the braking zone. All of his loss was on exit. But Dale, you know how hard it is, especially at a road course. The more you're off, the harder you try to drive that thing, and then it compounds the slower you go.
Yeah, I think if I was